who's here?
Are you awake this time? Hi. Can I leave you guys? Are you going to be sad if I leave you? No, leave. Goodbye.
Wow, they didn't have to say no so quickly.
We didn't have to, but we did.
Was that your mom?
Yes.
I like your mom.
Okay. She's a pain. Okay. That's not the loud living room.
Hi.
Is the light? Oh. No.
Oh, breathing is fun. Okay, wait. What am I doing with my life?
Is live.
I am a
Hello, everyone. We are talking about Throne of Fire since Kinsey is looking for a better place to sit.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Full disclosure, I'm only there because
I read the full graphic novel.
Ken, this is like the first time I think you have been the only one who has finished something.
I know. Oh, I hadn't even.
I desperately tried.
Literally,
I've been listening to it for like a week and a half. I cannot get into this book.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I think that the audiobooks are so much better. Because, like, I
can listen to them.
I could not get into the Red Pyramid, and then I listened to the audiobook, and I was listening to it every day.
See, I listened to the audiobook for both of them, and they're still killing me.
Really?
Huh. Listen, they're better than the ones for Percy Jackson, so.
Okay.
Oh, it's not that they're bad audiobooks. The audiobook people are fine. I'm just not into the story at all.
That hurts.
That is painful, Kier.
She's just. I'm just not into.
You're just mad that it's not Percy Jackson or Nico.
No, I love Magnus Chase, so that is not an excuse at all.
Yeah,
it's for me. It's not that it's bad. It's on the same level of a lot of the Heroes of Olympus books, which like I think they're fine. I just don't absolutely love them.
I think that these ones, at least like these two. Granted, I didn't actually read the words. I just looked at the pretty pictures.
That might be it.
But I think that they start really slow.
They do. Like I am 131 pages in, and we have not gotten to the main conflict yet. We're still in setup, and Kier has disappeared. We drove Kier away. Oh no, with our bad reading taste.
No, I'm just trying to. I think leaving.
And it's funny too because I've heard, like I was talking to people at work about these books, and one girl was like, the first two books are just they're so painful. But you get to the third one, and it's worth it.
See,
but the third one is bad because it ends, and it's not like an actual good ending, because apparently it was supposed to be 5 books, and then it ended up being 3.
Really? I didn't know that.
I've never heard of this one as a trilogy.
I did too.
Yeah.
I like every single person I've ever know that read it always tell me it ends incompletely.
Really? Huh. I mean I haven't actually read the third one, so I don't like know if she's right.
I have read the third one, and I felt like he wrapped it up fine. There was one specific plot point that I didn't like how it ended, so I didn't really like the third one. I felt like it was a little bit lackluster. But it still was, everything was wrapped up. I just didn't feel like it was like as powerful an ending as, say, not Heroes of Olympus. What the frack is the last book? Last Olympian.
I was about to say, we're going to have a really big discussion if you're going to be like, yeah, Heroes of Olympus ending, the best.
I mean, I liked it. I would have liked more Percy and Annabeth in it. I mean, we did get the one.
Yeah, but Eddie, Percy, and Annabeth will win you over any moment of any day.
Yeah.
This is true, but like, don't knock it. It's the best ship in the world. No, it's not. That's a categorical lie.
I love it. It's not the best ship in the world. So the thing is for me is in the Red Pyramid, I actually enjoyed the setup. I thought it was interesting. I have no emotional attachment to any of the characters, and I don't feel well immersed in it. And I think that's what kills me. It's not the writing is fine, the storytelling, the gods are all fine. It's just I have no compelling reason to pick it up. No anticipation, no wanting to know what's next. When I read the audiobook, I'm fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm not like compelled to finish it.
I feel that because like the way we start out this particular book, one of the things that threw me, I mean, I love it, and these are great characters that we really enjoy. I'm in it for Sadie and Carter, but like, we have a real fast introduction. Like, we just suddenly have these two characters, Jazz and Walt, who are suddenly a part of the team. Like, I mean, that kind of threw me this time around. I was like, oh, that's right. This is how we meet them. And
Are they
okay.
important?
I
Because where I'm in the story, she's currently destroying a like train station with her
That
two
is
friends
exactly
from
where I
like,
am
middle
right
school.
now. I'm a little bit past the train station. I'm right to get to Bess and the Speedo, and like, I'd forgotten that scene exists. And why would Rick Riordan do this to us?
That's beautiful.
Well, where I am, they just got into the really trashy limo.
Okay, yes.
That's
Yeah.
So
literally-
you've met Bess. He's about to.
I would have been very close to the end. I was called to write poetry by my friend, and I had to go. So
That's fine. I just haven't like. I thought it was going to take me, as usual. I thought it was going to take me less time to read than it was, and then I fell behind on NaNoWriMo. So a lot of my reading time has been catch up on word count time.
Yeah.
Which makes me
we
sad.
don't need to talk about NaNoWriMo.
I do think that they're like, it's funny too, because like when I really get into it, I'm like, oh wow, I really like these characters. But then like the fact that I have to get myself to pick up the book and read it is
Mhm.
the most painful experience in the freaking world.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I like the series. I don't feel like it is. At least this one has not been as compelling as, say, The Last Olympian was when I read 4 hours. I mean, I was stuck at the machine shop for 4 hours, but like when I just sat and read the entire book, or Battle of the Labyrinth, where I picked it up, I was like, I'm gonna read a couple chapters, and then I didn't do any homework that night.
No, yeah, I think
Oh, yeah.
that like as soon as my back starts to hurt from like laying down and reading, I'm like, all right, it's fine. I can just put this book off to the side.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
like,
nothing
all of
that
the
I'm like,
other Percy Jackson books, I have pretty much all read in like one sitting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like that's how, like even the Magnus Chase books, like I read fairly like that.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not.
One big.
There's no part of me that's willing to stay up till like until 3 just to finish this book.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad. It's just so solidly mediocre to me.
Yeah.
If it were not NaNoWriMo, I wouldn't have a problem reading this for hours and hours. But right now, the only things I'm able to read for hours and hours are audiobooks because I listen to them at work. And one of them completely took over my life yesterday. Anyways, that's a whole different subject.
Oh, that was a bad decision. I'm on an air mattress, and I'm just saying, air mattresses are not good for just sitting and chilling.
One of the
No,
things
not at all.
you're funny. One of the things I do want to say is I really appreciate how he tries something different with every single mythology. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I really like the fact that they're not like children of the gods in this particular instance. They are magicians who are channeling the powers of the gods. I like that. I think that really opens it up to a lot of different things. I was I'd forgotten that her grandparents got body snatched.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, are we gonna kill off Sadie's grandparents? Ugh, it's
Well,
bad.
I told
They die?
I
Like,
mean,
that was literally where I was like, are they about to die? Because no good person could have more than one guardian. And they already got
I
their
mean,
husband.
no good person can have more than one good guardian. And as we've already established in the Red Pyramid, Sadie's grandparents aren't all that hot. Like, they're awful.
Are they awful though? Or like
I
I thought
think
that they were
they're-
like fairly
They're
loving to
sadistic
her.
and racist.
to Sadie, they're great. But to
Yeah.
her family that's her
To-
immediate family that's still alive, they're pieces of shit.
Well, to
Oh,
Carter
yeah.
and
But
his
they're not
dad.
bad to Sadie. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not saying that they're like all around amazing, but like
Yeah.
they're not. Yeah,
I
they're
just
not like neglectful or abusive of her.
they're not neglectful or abusive of her, but they are of Carter. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm doing a live show.
Hello.
What does she thought I was talking to my brother? I don't know. I told her this was happening.
Like I can talk to him.
Yeah, I know.
Add your mom to this.
Anyways, so why would I be talking to BJ about books? He doesn't read books. I mean, he listens to them.
Convince him to read books.
I do. He'll listen to audiobooks. He doesn't like picking up physical books and reading them. He's fine picking up like technical papers, like the most boring ass stuff he'll pick up, but not a book that is good. Like he just can't seem to summon his what's the word? Attention for a book.
My mom's the same way.
Anyways, enough roasting my brother.
Well, my mom reads Amish fiction, so.
What? Oh, yeah. Oh, so she likes, what's her name? Beverly Lewis? Beverly Lewis?
A lot of Jeanette Oak, Beverly Lewis.
Oh, man, I know those.
Knightley? Not
Keira Knightley.
No, what's the other one? Oh, Karen Knightley.
Yes, I've heard of her.
I've never read a book by her, but I've seen them.
I literally I went from middle grade straight to Christian adult fiction when I was a teen. Like, I didn't really do the young adult section until I was like 16, 17. It was a very interesting experience.
What you doing?
I started reading like adult Christian novels when I was like 11 or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, they're very clean. So.
Yes, they are.
He touched my hand. There was a kiss.
You're lucky if you get a kiss in a Christian novel. Actually, no, they didn't.
Speaking of kisses.
Okay.
Yes, Anubis and his
I've
absolute.
seen that.
Oh.
He's such
He had his first kiss.
He's such a disaster with girls. I love him so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious he likes her, and then he ends up calling her a baboon. Sort of. Just like, this is not sexy, sir.
I love it.
How do you feel about a 13-year-old girl and like a many century-old Egyptian?
You know, you gotta look past that. He's looking 16, so like it's okay.
In his defense, she's 14 now. I'm just kidding.
No, she was 12 turning 13. She just turned 14, didn't she? She just turned 13, didn't she?
Yeah, I thought she just turned 14. I might be wrong. I don't know. I was just like, it's her birthday. It will make more sense later in the series. Like who was it? I got into this discussion with someone who was getting pissed that 1,000-year-old teenage genie was possibly a love interest for what's his name, Damien. How can I forget his name? Who is the current Robin in the Batman universe? They were getting mad. I was like, well, it depends. Are they someone who chooses to be in a teenage body and has been alive for thousands of years, or are they someone who is trapped at that teenage development and has been alive for 1,000 years?
Coming from a counseling position, your body and everything that's developmental, except for about your frontal lobe, is completely developed by the age of 11. So, if you could trap an 11-year-old in that body, and they would be just as able to do anything that an adult could do. The only difference is they would have slightly be more impulsive, which some adults never grow out of impulsivity anyways. It does not matter once the age of 11, development, other than like physiologically, like mentally, stops, other than impulse control.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Anyways, she just turned 13. I just checked it on the way.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. Anyways,
I don't know. I don't really think of that as a problem. I mean, not if it was. I don't know. I don't really. It doesn't bother me.
I don't have a problem with it because I know how it is.
I also read like vampire romances, so I feel like I'm just like, you know what? If you're old, but you got a connection, it's okay. As long as you don't look 90.
But the body, like, if there was that's the thing. Why do we judge people completely off physiological?
Because it's not about it's about the connection they share.
I personally prefer, like, if there is going to be, like, I like Once Upon a Time where they have, he's 300 and she's 30, so like,
yeah, because she's already
that makes sense.
Adult. I don't mind that because she's already developed and there's not a power imbalance because of it. But when you're old and you have all this life experience and you have a 13-year-old kid, it's about a life experience, not about also as a 13-year-old, because it's not even someone like who's like 17 or 18 who's like at least like mostly like an adult body. Like she's still like at the beginning of puberty.
Mm-hmm.
She's even gone through puberty, and he is a 6,000-year-old god.
Just keep reading. You'll see what he does something. Anubis is there for a reason. We will see later what that reason is.
Am I gonna like the reason?
I can't spoil it.
Okay, but can you spoil it?
No, because it's been a while since I read that book.
Not an excuse!
I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm not. Nope.
Does he turn out to be a creepy old man?
No, he does not turn out to be a creepy old man.
Darn it. We could have had a lot of conversations about that.
So.
Okay, but like, what about this little love triangle we got going on between Sadie and Walt and Anubis? You rooting for anyone? Here,
I thought Walt was holding Jasmine's hand. That's all I got.
Yeah, you need to keep reading because all of that will be explained. I'm not telling you who I rooted for because, yeah.
You're no fun, Margaret. You're no fun at all.
I'm definitely there's a boy I'm rooting for, and I love him. And
I feel like it's what's his name? The god.
Not quite.
So it's
Walt?
Not quite.
So it's neither?
There's a actually it's not a third option, but
there's a third man.
No,
what are you doing with your life?
It's not a third man. There is no third man. The two options are Anubis and Walt. But you have to, like, there is a huge thing, like, so much of what's getting set up with Walt right now.
Oh, does he die?
Gotcha. Just kidding. This live stream just not consulting, not analyzing or discussing, just trying to get Margaret to tell us spoilers.
Anyways, what's being set up with Walt right now is going to be kind of a little bit of a wrench in some things, and Sadie's not going to be happy about it. But it doesn't have anything to do with Jazz. What?
He's destined, I said, has an evil god in him. He's destined to be Jazz's one true love, death throughout centuries, like Hawkwoman and Hawkman.
That's not entirely how that goes.
No. I quit.
Every time they are reincarnated, they must find one another.
That is true, but they're not destined to be enemies. They were cursed by some Egyptian gods to, technically, they're not ever supposed to be together.
Oh, I didn't say that they're destined to be enemies.
No.
I said option one, him and Jazz are destined to be together. Option one, he's a bad guy.
No, he isn't.
He is the Luke of this series.
He is not the Luke of this series.
No.
I'm still trying to remember whether or not Uncle Amos is the Luke of this series. I'm like, okay, so he was bad in the first one. Does he stay good, or does he go back? I can't remember.
Do you not remember who the big bad is?
No, the big bad is Apophis. I'm like, does he? Because but like the Luke character, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with this.
I don't know how I feel about Amos being the chief lector.
I don't remember because, again, I don't remember. It's been so long. I read these as they came out. So the last time I read this was in
2011.
2011 and then 2012. So, like, those are my yearly, like, things I looked forward to. Was I had Kane Chronicles in May or April, and then Heroes of Olympus in October.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I have zero understanding what you're talking about because I haven't read it yet.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Are we still doing a live show for the Serpent Shadow?
I would hope so.
The third one.
I'm going to read it.
December?
The Shadow.
But maybe we should put it out for 2 months so that we can actually all read it.
Already halfway through the November.
Yeah, I know. This is so we probably will do it halfway through November and then just give us all of January for the first Magnus Chase book, I think is what how I was thinking we could do it.
Oh, I miss Chase too. Oh,
I'm so excited.
Are we doing Trials of Apollo as well?
Yeah,
Well,
after
we're
Magnus
waiting
Chase.
We're lining it up so that we finish it so that we read the last Trials of Apollo when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. So. I'm still mad about stuff I've heard happens in book 3.
Yeah, I know that. People die.
Oh yeah, that's old news.
I know it's old news, but like it hadn't been confirmed until someone on Twitter confirmed it. Like I kind of knew, but I didn't know. Like I was ignoring the fact, but now someone has actually spelled the name out without any weird letters going in places. Anyways, so I
was just reading the Wikipedia because I was like, these people don't appear. Can I remember specific things about them? Because sometimes I just read Wikipedia things and like trivia, and then I was like, oh, deceased. Interesting. And I had a moment of silence, and then I was like, I didn't love him that much anyways.
I mean, I didn't. I mean, it's better than other characters dying, but I was...
Are we thinking the same character? The character I'm thinking of, you like a fair amount.
I like a fair amount, but like if I had to choose between him and Percy, like, bye.
Oh,
like, if I had to choose between him and Leo, bye.
Well, Leo's the main character in the Trials of Apollo.
Fantastic! I love it. Someone should have told me that sooner.
I told you that, like, a few months ago.
I have zero memory. My memory just, like, I'm lucky if I remember last week.
I told you that him and Calypso both appear.
Well, I remember this conversation! Anyways, so Kinsey, what did you think about the way the story went in this book?
Well, from what I could tell of the graphic novel, I mean, I honestly wasn't, with this version of it, I wasn't bored.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was just flipping through the like actual copy of like when things happen, and I think I would actually kind of hate myself. Like, because like all of the action, bro, it doesn't start until wait.
What do you call a giant baboon tearing up a train station? Is that not action?
Well, that's 3 hours into the audiobook.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pages.
It is 131.
You do have that guy that comes during training, but that's a very, very short scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that this series so far is perfect for graphic novel.
I think it's a solidly mediocre series.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, but I also think that there's so much like, one, Egyptian mythology is not as popular and not, I think, as well understood as Greek and Roman.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick takes so much more time trying to say, okay, let's make this super clear. Like, this is how this whole family works. This is how the magic system worked then and now. And you're just like, I know that this is important. Like, can we mix this in with everything?
I find that kind of stuff cool, but I also like know basic because I studied Egyptian mythology because I took history and stuff.
Yeah,
but
no.
Like, it's not the best done. Like, I knew way less about Norse mythology, and I'm going to bring up Magnus Chase again, and it's done way better.
Well, yeah, I'll agree with that. Magnus Chase has done much better.
Yeah, I mean, this...
But, like, it's also, he wrote it later in his career, but he also wrote the whole Percy Jackson series before. But he was also very wildly informed about Greek mythology.
Yeah, I feel like it's so much, like, I know so much more. For me, I know so much more about Greek and Roman mythology, like, because I have taken class after class after class on Greek and Roman mythology because I love it. I've only taken, like, one class on Egyptian mythology, and from what I know, it's basically just a crap shot because there's so much mythology there, and it's so hard to, like, piece together the different threads and figure out like Greek and Roman, you have like maybe 2-3 stories about, and then But then if you get into Egyptian mythology, it's like 17 different stories about the same person. What?
There's so many stories in Greek. There's so many stories in Greek myths. It's just that Greek myths are so incorporated into our lives, into the ways that we talk about our media. Like, it's not so much that there's less of it. I think that there might even be more than it. It's just more incorporated into our lives, so we're more informed.
Yeah. But I mean,
even in like the literature we read for school, you have mentions of Greek myths, and then your teachers are explaining like, oh, this is, so you're right. They are so much more incorporated. And then you hear stuff about like Egypt and you're like, okay, cool.
And it's also a lot easier. We have a lot better records when it comes to Greek and Roman mythology. Like that was one of the things my professor was talking about, the fact that like there's more, like the Egyptian Empire went for a pretty long time, but there were so many different eras in the empire, and every era changed up the mythology a little bit. So it's not quite, I mean, like Greek and, like I said, Greek and Roman does have like some places where you'll have the same story told twice, but like you have a lot more of that in Egyptian mythology. It's a lot harder to be like, okay, but what was the original story for Egyptian mythology, because of the way the sources are, how hard, like we don't even know, like until like maybe 200 years ago, we couldn't even read hieroglyphs.
1822. I just looked it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just under 200 years we've been able to research it at all.
And so like there's just so much of it that we don't. Yeah. And then we have the fact that they didn't use vowels, so we're having to guess at a lot of stuff. So it's just, I think it's harder to research, and it's not as integrated into our culture.
Yeah. So
and what isn't necessarily as recognizable as, say, the Greek and Roman mythology. Yeah. I'm reading this and I'm like, I need to go study some Egyptian mythology some more.
Same thing. Yeah.
Like, and read more books that have Egyptian mythology incorporated in them.
Yeah.
So
I will say though, like something that I do enjoy about this series is that I like being able to see Rick write in the first person female.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's like super different than the first person male, but Sadie is just as sassy and like angry as some of the male characters, that I'm like, it's nice to just have this sort of representation, we'll say.
She's also very British. Like reading
British.
I can tell that she is British. Like I can hear the British accent in my head as I am reading this. Like you can tell the huge difference between how Sadie was raised and how Carter was raised. Yeah. And I like that, like I connect with that kind of sassy, like very antagonistic persona that Sadie is. I feel like we need to encourage girls to be more sassy and antagonistic at times.
Sassy. I feel like she falls into the trope of the fact that like if you're going to be a strong like kick butt character, you have to be super antagonistic. Like for me, it takes away some of the heart, because we don't have a lot of relationship in it. We don't have a lot of like people around them that they're connecting with. So pretty much the heart of the series is Carter and Sadie's relationship. And I don't feel like they have a very strong one, because she's so antagonistic. Like I wouldn't mind if she was antagonistic toward other people, but like you need some heart behind it, and I don't feel anything because they're so on. I think that it's also a weird thing because they're auditorially, that like there's weird things that they obviously wouldn't say if they were like, if there was a person right beside them actually listening to them.
Yeah, there are some places where I'm like, wait, but I do like, I guess for me, the banter really reminds me of me and my brother.
Right.
Because we're very antagonistic towards each other, and it's in a loving, fun way, but it wasn't always. Like we were not always kind to each other when we were kids. And I read this and I see a relationship that's going to be a really, really good, strong relationship when they get older and a little bit more mature. Even maybe towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think that Sadie and Carter have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
I think that it's every time I read it, I'm like, wow, I think I had this same conversation with my little brother and my little sister. And I think that, but I do think that there's still moments when, like, yeah, they're antagonistic towards each other, but I think that they also, like, have those moments where they're like, okay, you can hurt everyone else I know, but you touch even a hair in Carter's head, and I will tear your heart from your body. Like, do not touch him. Do not look at him. That I am the only one allowed to abuse him. Like,
and it goes both ways, yeah, I think, because Carter definitely looks at Sadie as that annoying little sister at times.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
But I wish there was more. Like, I get it, 'cause, like, I have a very teasing, banterful conversations with my siblings, but there's always a ton of, like, love behind it. And I know that my siblings, there's a more larger age gap, but, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't like the fact that in literature so much, we always see antagonistic siblings.
that's wrong.
Like, why can't siblings just get along and like tease each other? Like, kind of like Annabeth and Percy. Now, obviously, that's more of a romantic friendship, but, like, you know, they start off bantering and not getting along, but, like, even though they continue to tease each other, they continue to, like, not always get along. There is always that undercurrent of, like, respect and love underneath it.
I don't think you're gonna find that yet. I think that's something that Sadie and Carter are having to work together because of how they were raised and how they were raised separate. Sadie very much reminds me of the kind of stereotypical, almost foster child. Does that make sense? You know, that we see, for example, in Temperance Brennan in Bones or Emma Swan in Once Upon a Time, where, like, they feel like they've been rejected by the people that are supposed to be their family. And so this idea that, like, I think it's hard for them. Like, me and my brother, we were raised together, and it was hard for us to be like,
yay, love you.
We weren't even close until I went to college, despite him trying when he was 6. And I think part of that was just because we were raised that girls do girl things and boys do boy things, despite, you know, my parents' best intentions. But I think that if Percy and, like, Annabeth and Grover were the heart of the Percy Jackson series, if their relationship was the thing that really kept the emotional grabbed your emotion, I feel like Sadie and Carter are the emotional heart of this series. And part of it is the journey of them getting to where that sibling bond is stronger. And where they've dealt with the fact that they were separated for 6 years and didn't get to grow up the way they should have. And so now they have all of these repressed feelings that they are taking out on each other, despite the fact that they had no control over the situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I find it
like, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. And that's why in some of my writing, like, I have better sibling relationships in some of them. But.
Yeah, and it's not bad to have bad sibling relationships. Literally, the core of my main book has destruction and
right.
It's between two siblings trying to kill each other. So, yeah.
So, anyway, I think there's a lot of baggage there, and we haven't worked through all of it yet. So.
Yeah. I agree.
We're 2/3 through.
No, I am 1 and a third of a third through. I'm awful, I know.
What?
So my math is I'm 1.33% through the series because I have not finished this book yet. Look, it's a little stormfly. Talk about.
Well, you would be 33% done when you were done the first book. So you're like 40. 50%.
Yay. I don't know. I'm just like I'm enjoying it. I just.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Percy and Annabeth in it, so I'm not quite as invested.
Oh, you know who's in Magnus Chase? Annabeth is in every book.
Yep. Why do you think I picked up Magnus Chase?
I don't know, because you like Rick Riordan's books.
I do. But also the fact that I picked them up has a whole lot to do with the fact that he said that he is Annabeth's cousin and therefore necessary in my life.
And we can discuss the family dynamics in those books.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we did so bad this time
I'm
around.
sorry. I can't keep my bias down.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
I want Rick
Nope.
Riordan to write Percy and Annabeth as adults. Make us an
That
adult
is
series.
not about the Kane Chronicles.
No, you want to write about their
Get out of
children.
this live show.
You have the power to kick me out, and you haven't yet. Anyways, I unfortunately do not have a lot, and I don't want to spoil Kier for stuff. So even though
I don't care to be like, I don't mind if I'm spoiled.
So okay, let's see. So I love Zia Rashad. I love her.
A queen.
I do like her.
Yeah, I liked her. I really like her and Carter's relationship and how it has to restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her real self appears in this book, I assumed.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It's later. Like, I was reading the Wikipedia article, and I know the Wikipedia article was not quite like up to date. Like, there were places where I was like, this is not how this happens. Like, these that actually happens before this part. But at the same time, I was like, this is a mess. Like, how they're so much stuff happens in this book.
I just really like how she basically tries to kill Carter as soon as he saves her.
Both times.
Does she remember him at all?
If that's not a start of a healthy relationship, I don't know what is.
All of my favorite relationships start out with her trying to kill. Most of my favorite relationships start out with the girl thinking about it or trying to. What were you asking, Kier?
I said, does she remember him at all?
No. Which is unfortunate for Carter, but like so much fun for those of us with like angst and drama. So
The boy's heart is broken.
Yeah, I'm not a huge instant drama person. I think
Anyways.
that's what my issue with life is.
I'm sorry, you did not say that loud enough for me to hear you at least.
I said I think that I don't love angst and drama that much, and I think that's my issue in life.
Oh, I don't like it in life. It can
I don't like
off in life.
it in books. I don't like it in books.
But you know, I like books where one of them thinks the other one is dead, and they are currently separated, and there's going to be a reunion, and they're going to find out that they are not dead, and I'm just like, give it to me.
The Titan's curse.
Like, I thought my characters through hell, and they're like always sad and like dealing with emotional existential questions, but like I just don't love like drama at all.
Like, no, I like the current project I'm working on is my work in progress.
I heard there's doppelgangers and people dying and people falling in love with a person that looked like their crush and best friend, and I was just like, I will support you because you are amazing. But I might be dying while trying to read this.
I work very hard in that book to kind of make it so like the angst is not about their relationship. Like, there is some angst because she has to, but a lot of it stems from her questioning, is this me or is this the person's memories inside of me? Whoa. Like, there's a lot of her questioning herself and can I trust myself? But also, like, he's so good about it though. And can we just discuss the fact that he finds out she doesn't like magic being used on her, and so therefore proceeds to ask permission every time he needs to use magic on her.
Consent.
I love him so much.
Carter is really, really good. And I do like the fact that Riordan purposely did like a multicultural family for the fact that Egypt is very multicultural.
I liked that. I really, I like, should he have written this book? I don't know, but I like that he did that. You know what I mean?
Why do you think he shouldn't have done it? Because he's writing a female perspective and a black perspective? I
was more thinking that he's writing from a black perspective. I do feel like he did it responsibly, and he did it with lots of sensitivity readers and stuff. But I also like what he's doing with Rick Riordan presents a lot better. specifically
I don't think
because Egyptian mythology isn't necessary. I feel like if you were to retell Egyptian mythology from a Black perspective, like a Black author was to retell it, it would be a lot different than what Rick does. So
But I don't think there's anything wrong with using like POC leads when you're a white author, as long as you do it with care and like diligence and sensitivity readers and stuff. Like my main people in my book are POC.
Yeah, no, that's not my problem. Because one of my male lead in my work in progress is what we would consider a Black man. Like, there's no Africa in my world, but like we would consider him a Black man. I just think that when there are certain topics that like it's because of the culture that is in publishing right now, certain topics and experiences that needs to be left to the people that have to deal with those experiences on a daily basis instead of being written by a white person a lot of the time. Like it's
I agree.
It's one thing to have people of color in a fantasy because you're trying to make sure that everyone is represented in your world. It's another thing to be like, oh, I'm going to write The Hate You Give looking like I do. Or I'm going to write The Boy in the Black Suit looking like I do.
Yeah, because there's a balance between like there is the promoting people of color and promoting voices that are not heard enough, and also promoting characters in your own work.
Yeah.
So many like I know so many people who are white who want to be authors who are just like, well, I would never have a main character of color. Then I was like, why? Like I understand that, like, but you can do that with enough care and things. You shouldn't just eliminate, you know, non-white characters because you don't have that experience.
Yeah, and I'm not like one of the things that I'm not going to have racism as we know it in our world in my world because I don't feel like I can speak to that experience. Do my characters go through things? Yes. Do they have people who are prejudiced against them? Yes, because he was born outside the city, but like it's a very multicultural place. Are you okay, Kinsey?
Oh, my aunt walked in.
She walked in during the Diversity Express.
My very Hispanic aunt walked in and went,
oh God. Now she's gonna think I'm one of those white people.
No, she's just oh, it's funny.
That's funny.
I have a friend of mine who is he's biracial and like really conservative. So we were just talking about like the Canadian election, and then we were talking a little bit about Trump, and then he's like super conservative, and I'm like, and then he's just like talking about how this doesn't matter, and I'm like, and we had a few people from a few different backgrounds, and they're like, okay, you're the white chick like saying that we need to like care more about equality and stuff, and then there's the biracial kid being like, no, I don't care. And we're like, what is wrong with this picture?
Well, it also helps that he's male, and so that fits into the power dynamic. Like, I guarantee.
He's like, they've done enough, and I was like, they have not done enough, and he's like, they've done enough. And
like, if you look at women of color versus men of color are much more likely to gravitate towards conservative ideals because maleness trumps a lot of other stuff. Versus, so you feel it less when you are male, basically.
Anyways, it was just one of those funny moments that someone else pointed out, and they were like, "That is a weird conversation."
I have a friend who got mad at me for being mad about the fact that Crimes of Grindelwald treats their Asian characters terribly. Like,
what? You mean that making a subservient woman be a person who we already know is going to be beheaded and just a servant for a creepy man is not at all leading into very, very negative stereotypes?
Honestly, my
biggest positive representation.
It's going to depend for me what happens with her character, but like because
her character is already written, that's the issue.
Yes, but my thing is
she's a different Nagini.
Well, yeah, that's why that's my thing. I'm like, if they find a way to separate the woman from the snake, I could be okay with this storyline. If they do not, if she ends up becoming the snake, I'm gonna be like, nah. Next, the thing that actually bugged me the most about Crimes of Grindelwald was what happened with Leta Lestrange. I was like, oh look, we have a woman who is a woman of color sacrificing herself for two white boys, because that doesn't happen often enough in fiction. So, anyways.
Yeah, I know I hasn't actually watched it, but
Yeah.
I know enough reviews to know everything pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, you watch mine. I kind of roasted it and kind of like I talked about what I liked and what I didn't like. So
Well, also, Anita's like really the only main person of color in the cast too.
yes.
Like, is there any like? I haven't watched it. I watched the first one though, and there's like that woman that like runs the thing, but she's still like a very like
She's a minor
like, the same as,
character.
like,
There is one
she's
major
like Crouch in the originals.
yeah, there is one major person of color that makes it out alive okay from that movie. Her brother. But like most of the women of color, like their storylines are suspect.
Yeah, I was going to say like in the first series, the first movie, that's what it's called, Fantastic Beasts, there's no
white people.
Prominent character with
not no white people. There's only white people is what I meant.
Yeah. Like there's one person and yes, she's in a position of power, but she has no position of power really in the actual storyline.
I mean, you do have the Goldsteins who are Jewish representation, but they're still very white Jewish. I don't remember what the term for that is. Anyways.
But also Judaism is a religion as well, which also brings into it.
Anyways, we've lost Kenzie.
We're totally talking about the Red Pyramid. Oh, wait, no, we're talking about the Throne of Fire right now.
Good job. Getting the book right.
It's so funny. I keep saying Throne of Fire, and it sounds like a Sarah J. Maas title. Because there's
I keep saying Throne of Glass, so...
Yeah, I know, because I just finished reading Throne of Glass last month, and then they also there's a book in the Throne of Glass series that is Heir of Fire.
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm so confused right now.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Do we have any more thoughts for the no one watching us?
Oh, speaking of, so when you read the graphic novel, how was the art style, Kenzie? I haven't looked at that graphic novel.
Good. They definitely don't look like how I imagine them. Well, actually, Amos does. That's it, though.
I saw a cover, I think, for the graphic novel that was an illustrated cover, and I was like, oh, yes, let's whitewash the dark-skinned black boy again. Because he was a lot lighter than I saw him being.
He isn't...
Well, it really runs the gambit because he's half, so he could be like...
Yeah, I know.
There's no really description of how he looks, but yes, make him super white is not at all a thing that they do.
He was still definitely black, but he was super light-skinned.
There are definitely moments when, like, there are some pages where you're like, I'm sorry, is Carter all of a sudden white? But
I mean, it makes
most
as a sister.
I'm trying to find like a good picture.
Like my biggest thing though is the fact that like I have a disbelieving that Sadie would look that white, like as she is described.
Yeah.
Right.
Like she's described pretty much looking exactly like her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never like met a biracial person who looks like their white parent.
Yeah. There's a set of twins out there that one of them there's a set of twins out there that one of them is white and one of them is black. Like,
well,
it was
no, one of them is white passing.
But,
he definitely has more of like a, because at least like for this, like he matches. He's only like a little bit darker than Zia in the graphic novel. Like, okay, here's I don't know if you can.
But Zia's not white, right?
No,
black, or
she's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like, because like people
and then Sadie and Carter.
Like people look at Sadie and Carter and don't think they're related. What was it? Go ahead. Yeah. No.
I thought Zia was like Middle Eastern.
She is Middle Eastern. Yeah. Okay. Sadie is very white.
Yeah, Sadie is very white. And I get that. But like my thing with Carter being so light skinned is that like in the first book, they talk about the fact that people look at them and they go, those two cannot possibly be related.
Oh, I mean, they definitely don't look related.
Okay.
Like, there's enough difference that you can see, at least in the graphic novel, how they wouldn't be. But
you could also make Sadie like look less than completely white and also have that though.
Yeah.
Like my nephew is 3/4 white, 1/4 black, and you can still look at him and be like, yeah, he's clearly mixed.
Mhm.
yeah, every time I see them by each other, I'm always kind of like, I feel like that's not really how genetics works, but I'll just smile and nod with what you're doing. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely look at Sadie different, see her different this time, as opposed to the first time I read it, because I don't think I'd really like seen a lot of examples of what biracial was when I was reading it the first time, and so I saw her as completely white, and then Carter as completely black. But this time I'm like, oh, she probably is not like Hilary Duff white. She's just light skinned.
Yeah.
And she's got her mom's hair. That's all it
she's
is.
blonde. She's like, caramelly. I always considered that not like super, super blonde, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Because I've seen kids that are like, you can definitely see their parents in biracial couples. Like, I've seen kids that you'd be like, okay, they're probably white.
Yeah.
But they're still like, once you find out that they're biracial, like, oh yeah, I see it. So, and I've seen some that have like blonde hair.
Yeah.
Especially when they're younger, because our hair darkens as we get older.
Yeah.
But she's like 13, so her hair should be.
Yeah. Anyways. And she also lives in England, so she probably doesn't have that much of a tan.
Maybe that's
You
it.
should have at least a nice natural tan, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what was it? Jackie Ina was talking about the fact, she's like, she was talking about the fact that, like, if you look at pictures of her when she was younger versus pictures now, she's like, I'm much lighter skinned, but that's because as an adult, I'm not outside as often. She's like, it's not that I bleach, it's that I'm not outside as often.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Jackie Ina, she's a beauty tuber.
That's definitely,
Really,
I mean,
really big.
how much you're outside is definitely
A huge
a thing.
factor.
Yeah.
So, anyways, anything else we want to cover?
Well, no, because y'all haven't read the book.
You can. Like, I do
really nice to you.
I have
You haven't read
no
the book.
issues with being spoiled.
Yeah, I know, but I thought I was going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I can actually say so much in this conversation today. They'll have read the book. Like
you can say it,
So
and it might remind me.
We're not as I make a somewhat solemn oath to be done the last one.
I will be honest, I might just buy the graphic novel for the last one.
All right, well, if you don't care about spoilers, I'm definitely rooting for Walt. Anyways, I like Walt. I like him.
But the other one is the god of funerals.
No.
We all know I like the little goth men.
Like a little
I would date Anubis.
super old Nico.
Well, Nico himself is kind of super old. But see, that's okay because he was frozen in time with no development whatsoever.
Yeah,
Exactly. He just
At
played
11.
whole life.
Well, at 10.
Anyways, I am Team Walt, definitely. And I feel like the solution that Rick comes up with is unique.
Ugh. I
Go into polygamy?
I hate love triangles so much. I'm already stressed.
Anyways,
I'm not invested enough to be stressed.
you can talk about anything you want. I can't promise I will remember it.
I actually don't have anything else to talk about.
Okay, I was gonna say. Although, can we talk about some of these?
You want to put us through the ringer for no reason at all.
Oh yeah, no, that's my job.
Anyways, can we talk about some of these chapter titles? Because, like, chapter 11, Carter does something incredibly stupid and no one is surprised. That's just great.
Yeah.
Major delays at Waterloo Station. We apologize for the giant baboon. Like, I love Rick Riordan's chapter titles.
I get a demon up my
I
nose.
made it to chapter 8. Aren't you so proud of me?
There are delays at Waterloo Station.
Can't
I read all of
Eagle.
the Red Pyramid this week too.
So, all right. Well, if you continue with Throne of Fire and finish it next week, then you'll be able to start Serpent's Shadow and be done with it in time for like our mid-month thing. Because I wouldn't suggest doing it on the 8th, because that's when Booksplosion is having their live show, and we wouldn't be able to compete with them.
Well, we couldn't compete with you wanting to go to them. It's just the thing is
No,
we
I
keep on
would
getting
be
later
here.
and later. We started at our first live show was
at
at 4 o'clock, and then did we not? We wanted to have it maybe at 3, and now we're having our live shows at 9 o'clock.
I'm busy.
Yeah, well, maybe
I know,
let's
it's just
try and
funny.
get 7. I think we were aiming for like 7, and then Kinsey had stuff.
Good.
Normally I
go
go home on the weekends and visit my family, so that's why I always have to shoot it back so late.
Mm-hmm.
Family time.
All right, well, we can discuss maybe doing it on a different night then.
Oh no, it's fine. As long
So,
as it's late. But I know Kier has a problem staying up.
No, I'm normally up at this time. It's being up at like earlier time.
7.
7?
I only sleep 13 hours in a night. It's not an issue. I don't have chronic health issues.
I'm giving you shit. You're fine.
That's why we don't get mad at you.
No. I just
I'm
like
like,
to give you shit.
If I did not, like, if you were not dealing with chronic health, I'd be like, listen, we need to have a serious discussion about the fact that you've napped through 3 different live shows. But, like,
No,
your
I
body
came to
needs
the end of
that-
the last one.
your body needs that sleep.
Oh, she made
It's okay. I slept for like 12 hours today. But thankfully the live show was not super early, so it worked out.
What did I just do?
All
Oh,
right.
well.
Okay, do we have anything else we need to say to the public?
Read Serpent's Shadow. We will have the live show in December.
And we will try to do
In
that.
December?
Yeah.
Because my recommendation would be before like the weekend of the 16th, because I am going to visit my parents probably like on the 23rd. I'll probably be in Ottawa with my parents. And first of all, they have crappy internet. Second of all, my family will go insane if they ever find out I have a YouTube channel, because they believe that Facebook will make people steal my identity. And my mom doesn't want to have an email.
So when you I'll ask that later.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
okay. I think it's time to end the live show. I'm pulling out my calendar. We can discuss this after this is over, though.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for joining this half discussion.
This disaster.
It was pretty cool. And hopefully we'll all have read the last book.
We will have.
Bye.
No promises.